Whoa. Cringe. Today we'll look again at differences in manga and anime. Yu-Gi-Oh is done, so let's continue to Minato-san. What? Today just Naruto Classic, but if you like to see more of this, leave a thumbs up so I know that you liked it. And yeah, have fun. Anime. Zabuza was one of my absolute favorites and one of the coolest opponents in all of Naruto. But it's actually not about him. It's about Kaiza, the stepfather of Inari. You know, Inari, the boy who cried 7 times in those 6 episodes he appeared in. But even if it was a bit annoying, it's absolutely understandable. After all, he was only 8 years old and he's not some kind of Kakashi who became a genin at 5 and a shunin at 6. But he also had to go in a very early age through next level traumatic experiences and therefore fell into severe depression. Besides, Inari also didn't had such a training as Kakashi, and he usually had at least one absolutely good reason why he cried in the first place. For example, he didn't have it easy on the past either. Because the little boy Inari had no father, was bullied by other kids, and even his own dog wanted nothing to do with him and left him. The only one Inari could somehow look up to was his stepfather Kaiza. He not only saved Inari from drowning, but also saved the whole village from flooding. In gratitude for his courage, the villagers do nothing when Gato broke his arms and burned them, and then he was also executed in front of them. What a damn sad fate. First, he's separated from his son Marco Tsunami because of his courage in a storm, and then he's separated from life because of his courage. But actually, there was even more separated.
Manga.
Everything happens exactly the same here. Idiots bully Inari, Kaiza saves him, saves the village from flooding, and is thanked afterwards also for his commitment. Only slightly different and also slightly more fucked up. We don't see how Gato's gang finishes him off, but we see Kaiza hanging on the cross and holy shit! To break and burn his arms was apparently not enough for them, but they had to take them off completely. He doesn't have to worry about cutting his fingernails anymore for sure. Although now, to be honest, I don't know which would be more painful. To get your arms broken and burned or to cut them off. Either way, he was executed afterwards. Anime. In the second fight between Kakashi and Zabuza, Kakashi got brutally cut to protect Sakura and the bridge builder. Summons his dogs for playing around and then wanted to finish the pinned down Zabuza off with his self-developed jutsu. But at exactly the same time, the fight between Naruto and Haku was finished, so Haku has time to throw himself in front of Zabuza and take the Chidori for Zabuza. Hanging by the chest, Haku still holds Kakashi with his last breath, then dies standing so Zabuza can attack again.
Manga.
In the arc of the Land of Waves, there's really quite a bit of brutality going on in the manga. After all, there's my boy Zabuza there too, who is also much more psycho in the manga. But first again, the same thing happens. Kakashi summons his doggos out of the ground and then wants to finish Zabuza off with his Raikiri. And again, Haku jumps in between, only this time he imitates Rin and is pierced by Kakashi. With his last breath, he then grabs Kakashi's arm, then dies while standing and is only saved by Kakashi so that Zabuza can't cut up his corpse together with Kakashi. Looking at that scene with Haku again should have triggered immense Vietnam flashbacks in Kakashi. And actually it did. Because of this, Kakashi gets extra angry and tells Naruto to stay out of it because it's his fight. Now Zabuza has no chance and is whooped completely. Yeah, better don't trigger any traumatic memories in Kakashi. That can only end badly. Anime. Let's stay in the Land of Waves and get to one of the best scenes in all of Naruto. First, Haku dies and Zabuza loses both of his arms against Kakashi. Then the bastard Gato comes and kicks the corpse of Haku, which in combination with Naruto's Talk no Jutsu brought up Zabuza's emotions and made him turn into a demon one last time to settle things with Gato. So, borrow a kunai from Naruto to then chop the hobby gangsters and arrive at Gato, scare him a bit. And then send him flying down the bridge with a slash. Then there's that extreme emotional death from Zabuza, who gets to die alongside Haku.
Manga.
Here again we have a very similar situation. Zabuza loses both arms, Gato kicks Haku, Naruto uses the Talk no Jutsu, Zabuza cries, borrows a kunai, slashes Gato's man, and then it happens. In the manga, Zabuza doesn't just push Gato down the bridge with a slash or something. Nah, that's not worth of a demon. The body even remains on the bridge at the end. Just without the head. Zabuza decapitates him, which causes even Naruto to think a lot against Wom he shouted just a moment ago. Anime. Hi! Enough time spent in the land of waves, let's get to the Chunin exam. To be more precise, to the preliminaries, where Naruto farted Kiba hard in the face. And Rock Lee, who completely hyped my 12-year-old me. I nearly got a heart attack after he dropped his weights. Then shocked after Gaara trolled him. Then freaked out because of the 5 inner gates, with goosebumps and all, and then when he got up unconscious, he brought tears in my eyes. Boy, those episodes were just too much for me. Whatever, here it's all about the fight between Shino and Zaku. Zaku begins the fight hard handicapped because he can hardly move his 2 arms at all. Ha! Pranked! He can move 1 arm after all and shoots Shino away. And I somehow never really noticed that the insects come out of weird holes in Shino's body. These insects are used to attack Zaku from both sides, so that he has to resolve his second troll move as well, as he can move his second arm as well. Only to completely destroy them because Shino has stuffed his glands with his insects. One more slap and we have a winner.
Manga.
Oh boy, it's going to be wild. Again, the fight between Shino and Zaku, where Zaku is crawling, Shino is blown away, and insects come out of him again. Only they don't come out of perfectly made holes, but eat their way out of his skin. Om nom nom nom, motherfucker! Even though it's a bit crazy, it's not even the most disturbing thing. After Zaku again had no other way out and tries to use his second arm, the glands are blocked of Shino's insects here too. Only with a tiny difference that Zaku loses an arm. It just simply flies away. Then Zaku is slapped here too and is lying on the ground together with his arm. Shino the Psycho won. Anime. Again at the Chunin exam, the anime did something a lot better. Here we have the fight between Temari and Tenten at the preliminaries, which even was a somewhat nice fight. Even today I remember very well how Temari shot one moon after the other, Tenten tried to be a Kalashnikov and threw everything on Temari, and at the end flew up with 2 scrolls, and after Temari blocked that, Tenten tried it with strings, and yeah, it's a pretty good fight with Tenten uses all she got.
Manga.
In the manga, the fight was just skipped. It doesn't exist. After the fight between Sakura and Ino, Temari and Tenten had to fight. But after Sakura and Ino talked a bit after the fight was already over. Off screen, of course. Too bad, but thanks for the anime for the addition. Anime. Let's move on to the preliminary fights of the Chunin exam one last time. This time it's about Shikamaru and Kin. Shikamaru is actually at a disadvantage right at the beginning. Not only does Kin know exactly how Shikamaru fights because of the encounter in the Forest of Death, but he doesn't know how she fights because she couldn't do anything back then. Actually doesn't speak for her, but well. Then we learn that Kin uses needles with bells to distract the opponent. But that would be far too lame. Just distraction. Pfft, everybody could do that. The bells can do a lot more. Because these sound waves travel directly to the brain and from there disrupt the sense of balance and cause hallucinations, Shikamaru is in trouble. Though that he manages to catch her with his shadow, and with a shuriken throw and leaning back, Kin gets knocked out.
Manga.
Here they also fight each other. And Kin also uses needles with bells on them to distract the enemy. Only with the difference that these bells can't produce dope sound waves that makes the opponent trippy, but they simply distract the opponent. That's it. So an absolute easy win for Shikamaru. Anime. Let's move on to the Sasuke rescue arc. So many awesome and epic fights at once. Guys, Choji's fight and how we only see there how insane his character actually is was just too good. Most of the stuff here has been adapted pretty well though. Hardly anything taken out, hardly anything downplayed. Neji's fight was also very well adapted, except for one bigger thing, and that even in the truest sense of the word. As Kidomaru has noticed that Neji has a tiny gap in his field of vision, he takes advantage of it and blows a small hole in Neji's left shoulder and then in his right hip. The second one Neji used for himself, tracking down Kidomaru with it and thus finishing off the vermin.
Manga.
Exactly the same here. Neji wants to fight Kidomaru, they fight for a bit until the spider senses Neji's weakness and thus gets him. Only this isn't a cute little hole like in the anime, it's so big you'd think a train flew right through it. After Neji took the second shot to finish Kidomaru off, he got another big hole with that. And even though he was about to die, he could luckily be saved. It would be hitting right into my feelings if this had been his death, since he's such a cool character. But I would say that this would be a much more epic death than the one in the war. Anime. The second thing in this arc is, no, not Shikamaru who got caught in a Genjutsu and got there in the anime Harry Potter style in arm without instead with the flesh melting from his bones, but something that looks kind of damn disgusting. One of the best fights in all of Naruto. Rock Lee and Gaara against Kimimaro. Seeing Rock Lee back in action with a drunken fist wasn't just fucking epic, but also fucking hilarious. When Kimimaro was sent out as a secret weapon by Orochimaru, we knew that it would need more than one Genin to stop him. Naruto with a bit of Ninetales chakra couldn't even touch him. And when he took a bone out of his shoulder and used it as a sword, Naruto was even more futureless. But then, as I said, Lee came to take Kimimaro on so that Naruto could run after Sasuke. Then the fight against Lee Normal, against Drunken Lee, where Kimimaro takes a hit for the first time and gets more bones out of him to defend himself, then again against Lee Normal and then against Gaara, where he shoots his finger bones, survives a sand funeral, gets buried by a sand tsunami and again gets hit by a sand funeral, survives that thanks to the cursed mark and comes back to the surface in his dino form, gets hit again by the sand funeral but just keeps running as if nothing happened. In attack mode he takes out his spine to hold Gaara with it, and with an oversized bone thing he wants to get him. Only to end up underground again, creating a bone forest and almost killing Gaara. Well, at least if it weren't for his illness. Kimimaro hasn't even had a scratch on the outside yet. This guy was just way too strong. For a 15-year-old!
Manga.
More or less the same here as well. But here are all the bone projectiles and so on really disgusting illustrated. Kimimaro doesn't just let the bone rise from the shoulder like in the anime, but the entire shoulder opens up. For the finger bullets he splits his fingers! Bro, that just looks so damn unpleasant. After the first sand funeral he came out of there more zombie than anything else. Nevertheless, here he also dies from his illness. Anime. In the fight between Naruto, Tsunade, Jiraiya and Shizune against Kabuto and Orochimaru, Tsunade was a bit hasty and was stopped by Kabuto with some blood. She overcomes her blood phobia after Naruto reminds her of her little brother and her lover. For this, he only had to take a kunai between his fingers and had to defeat Kabuto with the Rasengan. Well, actually Naruto almost had to die if Tsunade didn't protect Naruto from Orochimaru. That rascal goes right into full body contact, and after she was in control of herself again and all three of them were fighting with their summons, Tsunade ends up letting it all out on Orochimaru and beating him up like she has never beaten anyone up before. Except perhaps Jiraiya.
Manga.
Of course, the manga is more brutal again. Instead of not really knowing where Kabuto cut himself to get the blood which led Tsunade to her psychic breakdown, it's clearly shown that he cuts his right artery. But well, Tsunade is out of action in any way. Then Naruto gets punched just like in the anime, only here he doesn't hold the kunai between his fingers, but lets it go through his hands to get a hold on Kabuto. As long as the Rasengan knocked out Kabuto. Orochimaru did the same thing here, and therefore Naruto had to be protected by Tsunade again, only to be beaten by her afterwards. But unlike the anime, she doesn't rages and box him to a pulp for 3.5 minutes straight. He just gets a fist of love, and that's it. Anime. For the last thing, we'll head right back at the very beginning. This thing is very short. I think it's the shortest today. After Naruto tried his luck and absolutely fucked up, Sakura got into a Genjutsu in which she saw Sasuke on the ground with some shuriken and kunai who needed her help. Instead of helping him, however, she simply faints.
Manga.
Here Naruto is also tied up and Sakura is also put into a Genjutsu. Only this time Sasuke is used way more as a pinwall. Kunai and shuriken everywhere! Even in his face! Then his left arm is completely off and his left leg is also very slightly twisted. Yeah, now if I thought I might be the next one, I could faint as well. Guys, those were the differences in Naruto Classic, at least of the most violent, brutal and just disgusting. Thank you very much for your support, I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. We'll see us next time, so take care my friends.